Ray is a skilled contractor with over 30 years of experience in a wide range of trades. He's known for his attention to detail and prioritizing client satisfaction. Ray does everything with expertise. Watch as he transforms a door that's been in place for almost 40 years into a brand new window. He shows you that you don't need a bunch of fancy tools to get the job done in spectacular fashion. Step 1. Demolition. Tools needed: hammer and a pry bar. First, you want to remove any finishings in wood to prep for the next stage: framing. You want to make sure you remove any rotted wood due to water damage. Step 2. Framing. Tools and supplies needed: 2x4x8 wood, screw gun or nail gun if you have it, measuring tape, and installation. After demolition is complete, place new wood where necessary. Rule of thumb: when framing, please make sure the studs are industry standard 16 inches apart. Be sure to measure for the window. On this particular job, the contractor chose to place additional wood on the studs to prepare for the next stage: hanging drywall. He placed the additional wood there so the drywall will land flush with the pre-existing wall. A piece of plywood and spray foam is required on the outside to prevent moisture and wind from entering the home. Since it was previously a door, you'll need to add shingles and other finishing materials on top of the plywood to ensure that no moisture or wind can get through. Once the framing is complete and the window is installed, add installation. Step 3. Installing window. Tools and supplies needed: new window, screw gun, drywall screws, and caulk. Place the new window into the frame, ensuring it's level and plumb. Use shims if you have to make adjustments. Fasten the window to the frame with screws. Apply caulk around the edges to seal the window and prevent drafts. Add insulation around the frame if needed. Because it was previously a door, insulation is only needed at the bottom where the frame was installed. Step 4. Hanging drywall. Tools needed: 1/2-inch drywall, masonry nails, drywall screws, joint compound, 8-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch drywall knives. Depending on experience, quickset, which some carpenters refer to it as hot mud for quick dry, and joint tape. The contractor chose to use paper tape for this particular job, just his personal preference. When hanging drywall, you must always remember if there is no pre-existing wall, you must use drywall that is a 1/2-inch thick or more, based on inspection code. Because the wall is partially concrete, it is best to use masonry nails to hang drywall effectively. It is okay to use drywall screws for the stud portion. Time to add mud. Using an 8-inch drywall knife, scoop some mud onto the blade. Apply a thin coat over the seams where the drywall edges meet. This coat should be about 1/8 inch thick. Apply the joint tape. Immediately after applying the first coat of mud, lay the drywall joint tape onto the wet compound. Use your drywall knife to press the tape firmly into the mud and smooth out any air bubbles. For paper tape, center it over the joint and press it into the mud. Be careful not to stretch the tape. The steps are a little different for fiberglass tape. We'll cover that in a future video. Next, you want to smooth out the mud. After applying the tape, use your drywall knife, typically a 10-inch knife, to smooth the first layer of mud, ensuring it's even and that the tape is fully covered. Scrape away any excess mud, keeping the coat as smooth and level as possible. Feather the edges of the mud so that it gradually blends into the surrounding drywall. Apply the second coat of mud. Allow the first coat of mud to dry completely, which may take 24 hours depending on humidity and temperature. Ray used hot mud for this project, so the mud dried very quickly. Next, you want to lightly sand the surface with a sanding block or sponge to smooth out any ridges or bumps. Be gentle to avoid damaging the drywall paper. Apply a second coat of mud using a 10-inch or 12-inch drywall knife. This layer should be slightly wider than the first to help smooth the joint and blend it into the wall. As with the first coat, smooth out the second layer of mud, feathering the edges to make the transition from the mud to the drywall seamless. Lastly, apply the final coat of mud. The final coat should be as smooth and thin as possible. Use a 12-inch drywall knife to apply a thin layer of mud over the joints and any other imperfections. Feather the edges. Feather the edges even more than the previous coats to create an almost invisible joint line. The goal is to make the joint blend seamlessly with the surrounding drywall. As I stated previously, Ray does everything with expertise. After applying the first drywall for the window, he wanted to give the entire wall more of a complete look, so he decided to cover the entire wall with new drywall. So he basically had to repeat the entire drywall stage. This is what it looks like when a contractor takes pride in what he does. Step 5. Sanding. Tools and supplies needed: orbital sander or a sanding sponge. Because Ray sanded at the first, second, and third stages, sanding is much easier and it will limit a lot of dust from covering the area. He is now sanding to remove any blemishes he sees. That's just the perfectionism in him. Using your sanding tool, you want to remove any blemishes that you might see. This eliminates any hassle in the painting stage. Stage 6. Add finishing. Tools and supplies needed: finishing materials, wood or PVC available, brad nail gun, brad nails, saw, triangle, pencil, and caulk. After all of the hard work is done, it's time to add the finishing touches. Measure the ends of the finishing materials using the triangle and mark with a pencil, then cut with a saw. Be sure to dry fit before applying. Rule of thumb: when measuring the ends of the finishing material for the window, be sure that they are cut at a 45-degree angle. Next, you want to use your brad nail gun to nail the finishing materials onto the window. Use caulk to seal any crack and also to cover holes left from the brad nail gun. And there you have it, a brand new window along with a newly installed wall. The goal was to make it look like there was never a door there. I think he did a great job. Let us know what you think in the comments. That's all for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your way out. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell if you want to stay updated on any future videos like this one. Thanks for watching this episode brought to you by Local 53, a creative agency that serves those who build the world.